And we're live.
So, hey, y'all, if last week's Supreme Court decision didn't tell you that it's time to get the hell out of here, I don't know what will, you know? So today, we're going to be talking about two things. One, we're going to break down what the decision actually means for your day-to-day life and why it's time to go. Not theory, but real time, real life.
That's right.
Then we're going to shift to something even more important.
How you start positioning yourself to have options. All right.
Got to give yourself options.
That's right. Exactly. Because even though one of the most powerful sub-caucuses in the Congress is the Congressional Black Caucus, it has 62 members. That's the most ever, right? That gain was a direct result of the Voting Rights Amendment that just got gutted by Roberts' corrupt partisan Supreme Court. All right, and here's the thing. Just like in November 2024, too many Black folks sat there ignorant behind. Set their ass
on the couch.
Down on the couch, right? The vast majority of Black people were not involved in the civil rights movement either. Did you know that? As a matter of fact, my paternal grandfather, the daddy who raised my Malcolm X daddy, was not down for the fight, even though his son changed the trajectory of San Diego, California. And now, Justice Sammy Boy Alito was all too happy to say, right? All too happy to say.
While it's perfectly fine to use race when deciding who ICE can pull over, we cannot use race to make sure that congressional district boundaries ensure people who look like us
could elect someone who looks like us.
Right.
Right?
We can't even have our own people.
Right? But instead, we get this BS. Welcome to America Apartheid Part 2. All right. 2.0. Suddenly, race is very well. Now, wait, I just want you to understand the same court that said we may use race to decide if we want to profile people driving down the street or walking down the street based upon how they look. We can use race for that, but we cannot use race to make sure that folks have a voice, that they have the ability, the opportunity, because that's what the law says, to vote for someone who looks like them. Race is off the table in that regard. So basically what they're saying is, Black people, sit your Black ass down. What are you going to do about it?
Go get back on the couch.
Right? So if you don't see the problem, stay with us. Hey, y'all, my name's Halisi.
And I'm Rick. Welcome to our Black Utopia.
On our channel, we talk about money, we talk about travel and life abroad. We help folks who look like us, who are getting close to retirement age and forgot to plan. We help you get your money straight so that you can retire on time or maybe even
early.
Maybe even early.
And abroad ain't bad either.
Abroad ain't bad. All right, put this in the chat. Do you feel like your vote still has power? Type yes or no and be honest. All right, be honest, because if the system is shifting, you need flexibility. All right. So if you're watching from the future, hey. If you are watching from LinkedIn, hey. Let us know in the comments. Do you feel like your vote still has power? Yes or no? All right, be honest. The system is shifting and you need flexibility. And we're going to show you a faster way to start building that. But first, if you're new to our channel that you might not know, back in 2018, Rick and I got a wake-up call, y'all. We were getting close to retirement age and we looked at our money and it looked crazy. But we got our financial act together and we went from negative 22,000 to over 1.1 million in net worth. Y'all, if we can do that, y'all can do it too. All right. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, what we need you to do is subscribe. Subscribe. That's how you can support the channel. If this is information that you think needs to be shared with our community, right? Hit that like button and that notification bell twice so that you know every single time that we go live. We know, I don't know what YouTube's doing. I know it feels like they're suppressing our content. But that's okay, because each utopian will reach another utopian and teach a utopian. That's what we're going to do around here, right? That's what we're going to do. All right. We're going to say hello to the folks who are in the chat, but we're going to get started first, and then we will come back and say hello. If you are just now tuning in, we are talking about, we're going to break down what happened with SCOTUS, with the Supreme Court. The SCOTUS stands for the Supreme Court of the United States. We're going to break down how this affects us, okay? Because we've been saying, don't count on November 2026. We have been saying that, okay? And now you say, but y'all live in Portugal. Yes, we live in Portugal, y'all. But our money is in the United States. Yes. And our real estate is in the United States. And we still have to file taxes in the United States. And our only passport is in the United States. So you see, this will affect you when you move abroad, or for those of you who are already living abroad, right? Like all of every American, this affects every American, no matter where you are on the planet, no matter where you are. And especially those of us who live abroad. It may be a little bit harder for you to be voting in some of the local elections. We're gonna break all of it down. Okay, so what just happened? Okay, because some people are saying the voting rights got gutted. The voting rights continues to get gutted, is what I'm gonna say. It is not gone, but it almost might as well be. Okay.
It's become very weakened.
Right. And so, you guys remember when in Texas, the whole thing was, Jasmine was waiting to see if she's going to run for Senate, to see if they were going to draw new maps. Those maps basically got rid of almost every POC seat in Texas. Okay. Now, according to the Voting Rights Act, that is against the law. So that's why Jasmine kept telling them, don't say it is about them getting rid, that it's partisan. You've got to say it is about race, that they are disenfranchising marginalized groups. That's what you have to say. So that was very, very important. So the people who brought this before the court the first time in Louisiana, they were saying, look, Louisiana's a third Black. Why we only got one congressional seat? We got 6 seats. A third is 2 seats. We should have 2 congressional seats. The district court said, yeah. The Republicans said no, and we're gonna take this higher because we know what the Supreme Court looks like, and that's how we got here. All right. And so basically, what Sammy said was that, yeah, it's wrong to discriminate, but that's not what they're doing. They discriminate, and it's all about R versus D. It ain't Black versus white, even though we know that basically every Republican voter in the South is white and every Democratic voter in the South is Black. They switch. I know that there's a few on either side. I know that. And they know that. That's why they don't have to put Black people, white people, people of color, any of that into the law for it to have a desperate act, right? Impact. And so as the law was written, the deal was, we don't care what your intent is. We care about outcomes. Because, I don't know what you intended. It does not matter what you intended. I didn't intend to run that red light, but you still did.
You sure did.
And you still got to pay the piper, right? And so the law said, it doesn't matter what the intention is. If the lines take away folks having the opportunity to have a voice, then they are illegal. Well, Sammy Boy said, no, because people are really good people. And so you have to be able to prove that they're intentionally trying to stop Black people from having a voice. You got to prove that they're intentionally trying to stop Latino people, Asian people from having a voice, from Native American from having a voice. You got to prove it.
We got to keep it about politics, not race.
Exactly. Exactly. So basically,
there's one problem with that, y'all.
What's that?
That's race and politics are intertwined in America.
Always intertwined in America, right? Like, this is the thing. So, I don't know, let's say Tommy Tuberville, because he's one of the senators from Alabama, right? Like, so he's going to say, when he's suggesting certain maps, because that's how it works, the parties get together within their state and start suggesting maps. I had to go through that back in 2020. He's going to say, you know, we don't want the Blacks to vote. We don't want the Blacks to have a voice. And he's going to say that and put that in the language while he's suggesting his map. Really, Sammy Boy Alito? Really? Really? Because how do you prove intent? He knows there's good and damn well there's no way you can prove intent. So that's why they're saying the Voting Rights Act is gutted. Because even though there's still protection, there's basically no way to sue for discrimination because you have to prove intent. And can't nobody read nobody's mind. So unless they wrote it down somewhere, it has some manifesto,
right,
you can't prove it. See how insidious it is in America? And this is why you guys are so tired all the time. This is why. Because they do shit like this and then they gaslight you and try to act like you're crazy when you know good and damn well what the intent is. Am I lying?
No, you ain't lying.
I ain't lying. All right. So what they did was they made it harder to prove discrimination and easier to defend unfair maps. Racism doesn't have to disappear.
It just has to be deniable.
Right? That's how they try to make us seem like we crazy. That's how they try to make us seem like we are cray-cray. All right. Who's in the chat? Hey, Allison, good to see you.
Allison.
Grog is here. Wanda is here. Good to see you. Everybody has to say hello. When you come in, just say hello. If you're just now watching, in the comments, whatever, say hello. Hey, Ailey, good to see you. Dr. James Greer is in the house. Winnie Derek Travels, A Better Life. Winnie, good to see you. Bobby is in the house. Crystal Woodward, Dr. Sanji, Shanora. Ailey, can't wait to say hi in Lisbon. Girl, if you don't buy them plane tickets, yeah, I'm calling you out. I'm calling you out. See, before, if you're not a channel member, why not? Why not? Come hang out with us, okay? So before we go live, we have a private Zoom behind the scenes for about an hour. And so Ailey is all the people who have the little Sankofa bird next to them are members like Ailey. And so Ailey was in there telling all her business. And now I'm telling all of you. Thank you. Good to see you. JC Love, Bob Pacific Northwest is in the house. All right, y'all. We love you. We love you. We love you. You know the deal. Put a Q in front of your question or comment. You guys see that the merch store is open. I'm going to go ahead and put a link. Oops. Did I really just do that?
You just went to the merch store. I
just went to the merch store, y'all. I'm going to put a link to the merch store in the chat. I don't want to do it that way. Hold on, y'all. I'm sorry. I don't know how to copy and paste anymore. It's hard to think and type and do all of this stuff. Okay, so this is merch. I've got my shirt on. You guys can see. And the folks who are coming to the meetup, they already started buying their stuff, y'all. They already started buying. But we want you to go to the merch store and then let us know what else you want to see, okay? Let us know what else you want to see. We got caps and cups and shirts and all the stuff, but, and other colors, et cetera, let us know. All right, let's keep going. Because we want you to understand why this matters, all right? Why this Supreme Court decision matters. Because see, we kept saying that November, watch out for November 2026. They're going to try and not have that election happen. It's really, really hard to pass a law saying that certain groups can't vote besides kids can't vote, right? It's really hard to do that. It's easier to do other things like dilute the vote.
Yeah.
Think about it. And see, this is what people in a lot of places, California, from California to Alabama to from Atlanta to New York, have had to deal with, especially like our parents' generation. If you know, like if they got they got a black area, right? And what they do is they either crack it or they pack it. So they'll take a big black area, say, just draw a circle in your mind, and then draw a pie through the circle. And they split up the black vote and they put a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, a little bit there. And so it all gets split up into all these different congressional districts. So no matter, it doesn't matter, like it really doesn't matter. They only have a voice when it goes statewide. They only have a voice when it comes to like city council and state rep and things like that. Maybe not even state rep and state senator. They might not even have, they might be packing and cracking at that level too. The only place they can is statewide, right? Governor, senator. That you start, then, then when you have an issue and you call your congressional office, you don't get any response because you're like, hey, they're black, they ain't got no voice. They can't get me out anyway, so I ain't got to pay attention to them. Then you start saying, well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I vote. That's how they can do voter suppression without having to pass other laws, right? You can vote,
but it doesn't change outcomes.
It doesn't seem to change the outcome, right? Because gerrymandering equals power and control.
Yeah.
Communities get split up, communities get weaker. They cannot advocate as a community. That's what they do. Now, I don't know how many of you have called your congressional office. You should be. You should be. Call them when they do something good. Call them when you need when they do something not so good or something bad. Call them when you need information. It is amazing, like how we do not take advantage. That is their job. Like they have a whole office there called constituent services, basically customer service. Okay. And depending upon how big the congressional district is, they may have offices all around the district, how physically big it is. So, and they got a customer service person in every office to help you. And we don't even take advantage of it.
No.
And now it looks like we ain't gonna even have anybody who's gonna pick up the phone, right? Because I think about it. If you're talking about, and see, this is when I get pissed off at all of these people talking about these third-party candidates, and what's his name, Claude, the black guy, Claude, who's a professor or something, I don't know. He back in 2016 talking about he ain't gonna never vote for Hillary and stuff like that. Now he's got his feelings hurt that the Voting Rights Act has been gutted again, because the first time it happened, right, was Shelby versus Holder. We'll talk about that. But to hear all these black folks, oh, now they got their feelings hurt and they all upset when they were talking about third-party bullshit in 2016. We had Hillary gotten elected. I'm not a Hillary fan, but one thing that I do know is she wouldn't be doing this dumb shit, and we'd probably have a much different planet.
Yeah, different outcome.
Right? A much different planet. That kind of influence, it leads to policy differences, right? Like, it's hard for me to tell a straight white male that he needs to be advocating for maternal mortality among Black women because it's out of control. I'm not like, even those folks, even those allies who have the best of intentions are not going to be as passionate about that as a Jasmine Crockett would be.
No, not at all.
Or Lisa Blunt, right? Or Congresswoman Summers, right? They're just not. They're just not. And that's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. And even though we are living here, these people are affecting our money. And they're affecting our safety abroad.
Mhm.
And they're affecting our safety abroad, you know. So they don't have to stop you from voting anymore. They just have to make it not matter. And that's what Sammy Boy, Sam Alito, for those of you who are coming in late, that's what he did. And what Justice Kagan wrote was just perfection. And you know, this is not the first time the Supreme Court has been out of control, y'all. Okay. First of all, I don't know if y'all know, but the Supreme Court used to have like 12 people. Then it went down to 7. Now it's at 9 or whatever. Like there is nothing to say that we can't have more Supreme Court justices. So I don't want to hear from anybody who's not talking about adding more Supreme Court justices, holding them accountable, eliminating the corruption and all of the things, because when the courts start to think that they are legislators, it's like y'all wearing the wrong hat. There's nowhere in the Constitution that says that the Supreme Court is supposed to interpret the law.
No.
Or the Constitution like this. There's nowhere. So they're just making shit up. That's what they're doing. All right. And the bigger pattern, and this didn't start today, because this is a bigger pattern. Shelby County versus Holder. All right. I don't know if you guys remember this, because this was the first time we were really pissed off at the Supreme Court when they gutted Section 4B of the Voting Rights Act, right? No more pre-clearances. Remember, all of the South and Ohio and some Indiana and a few other places, before they made any changes to their voting laws, they had to get it cleared by the Department of Justice. Okay? That's how it used to be. Excuse me. And then Congressman Justice Roberts' court said, racism doesn't exist anymore. I mean, look at all of our, Congressional Black Caucus members, and we had Obama, right? We had Obama. Really? Really? Justice Ruth wrote in her dissent, she says, so basically when you're in a rainstorm and you ain't getting wet anymore because you got an umbrella, it's time to throw the umbrella away, because it's like, there's no more rain. I'm not getting wet, so it must not be raining, right? We have all these Black people. It couldn't be that the law is working.
Yeah.
One thing that I know is that Justice Roberts has been trying to get rid of the Voting Rights Act. This has been something in his jockstrap since he graduated from law school and entered the department. I don't know if it was the Department of Justice or the appellate court or whatever under Reagan. He has been chipping away and arguing against the Voting Rights Act since the 80s, okay? And he's finally gotten it done. So this is not new. This is a pattern. We are going backwards. And they're not trying to take us back to 1950. They're trying to take us back to 1870, where the courts decide who gets to be in government, right? And the rich people. Did you guys know that senators used to be selected? They were not always elected. That's why they call Congress the People's House. But how is it the People's House if they're choosing who their voters are? Sounds to me like the oligarch's house, right? So yeah. So once again, with no more pre-clearance, you cannot sue for discrimination. Based upon what? It just makes it hard. I mean, you can do it. It just makes it that much harder. Now, long term, here's the kicker, you guys, because we're talking about generational wealth. Now we're talking about our kids and our grandkids. If we do not change this shit, if we do not turn up overwhelmingly so that it does not matter what they do in 2026, this November, seriously, y'all.
Yeah.
and they take control, and they have control in 2028. When the census gets done in 2030, if we do not have control in 2031 of the House and the Senate, the Republicans will be in Congress as the majority for generations. Just like when they effed up under Hoover, the Democrats were the majority for a generation and a half. And now we're going in the opposite direction. And we're going in the opposite direction because the Democrats are complicit as well. They're culpable as well. Not all of them, but too many of them are culpable as well. And see, this gerrymandering stuff, even what they're doing in California, we're like, yeah, oh, you got some, we got some too, boo. What, right? Yeah. But see, what we don't want, when you have heavily gerrymandered districts, what happens is you no longer can talk to your person. Why? Because now it's so gerrymandered, they can't lose. So they don't have to listen to you. They can't lose. And that's just going to make things worse. They're not going to have to, neither side is going to have to compromise on shit because they're all in such heavily gerrymandered districts that they don't have to compromise and they can't lose. That's not democracy, small d democracy. That is not. It's a representational shift. And anyone, anyone running in 2026 who is not talking about getting money out of politics and putting that into law, like corporations are not people, my friends, right? No more corporations can donate. No more corporations can form PACs and super PACs and all this dark money and the crypto and all this. No more. And we need to just get the public financing and call it a day. You raise some. That's how Mandami won, by doing the public financing, right? I raise 1,000, they match me 1,000. I raise 10,000, they match me 10,000. Call it a day and get this other money out of politics. All right. So now we need to talk about you. All right. We need to talk about you because it's real easy to watch something like this and feel helpless, right?
Yeah.
And depending on one system in a time like this, with the changes that are going on, and it's global, it's risky, y'all. It's risky. It's real risky. So the question is,
how do I create flexibility without blowing up my whole life?
This is where most people get stuck because they think,
I need to go back to school. I need a new degree. I need years to figure this out. No, you don't.
No, you don't. No, you don't. Boy, Black folks will go get a degree. 50, 60, 70 years old, still going back and getting degrees. Baby, we don't need no more degrees. We do not need no more degrees.
You don't need to panic. You do need to plan.
You do.
Definitely need to plan.
All right. So I want to show you, like, I can't believe that I have forgotten about this, right? So people think you need years to figure this thing out, to get out of Dodge, right? To get out of Dodge so that all of these things that are happening are not, they work on your system so much, y'all. You don't even know how much creativity you are losing by being in an environment where the government and the people are constantly trying to tell you to either get back in your place and become a slave again, or just go somewhere. Well, I say go somewhere, because what's not going to happen is becoming a slave somewhere. But I'm telling you, I don't know why the government is trying to buy up all these warehouses and create these detainment camps. But all I know is, if they build them, they're going to fill them.
They're going to definitely fill them.
If they build them, they will fill them. Okay. And I don't want them filled with people who look like us, because 9 times out of 10, we ain't done nothing wrong. Right? We ain't done nothing wrong. All right. Before I get to the solution, I'm not going to get to the solution until I hear, we're going to go short tonight. I'm not going to get to the solution until I hear about what you guys are talking about. All right, so let's hear from you guys, and then we'll get to the solution. I'm worried about my other airline stocks, right? I got out of the hospitality stock business because they were just doing me wrong. They were doing me wrong, and I did not have time to wait. I have no idea. I have no idea
What's that?
if Spirit Airlines flies to Europe.
You know, Spirit Airline flew to Colombia.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, that was still.
They ain't flying nowhere now.
No, they gone. But why are they gone? Did they go bankrupt? What happened?
They couldn't afford the fuel.
And keep those prices. That's
And
y'all's president.
The government was supposed to give them what, $5 billion bailout?
Oh, were they?
Yeah, that didn't happen.
But what happened to the bailout?
Your president kept it.
It's in Eric's pocket. It's in Don Jr.'s pocket. This is what gets me, y'all. Excuse me, I'm sorry. These allergies are kicking my behind, and I forgot to take an allergy pill. I said I was going to, and then I forgot. But here's the thing. This is what I don't get, because I'm so tired of the Democrats talking about, well, we have the majority, nothing we can do. Like, y'all knew what was coming down because it was all in Project 2025. It was all in Project 2025. You knew all of this stuff was going to happen, and you did absolutely nothing to prepare. Like, you should have had the court documents ready. And as soon as he did one executive order, the stuff should have been filed. But y'all sitting on your hands, holding your in your hands. It makes no sense. So a good portion of these Democrats need to go. And if they're being primaried, you guys need to be voting in these primaries and get these mamby-pamby corporate Democrats out. If they're not about eliminating apartheid around the world, including in America and Gaza, right? If they're not about that and stopping this Iranian bullshit, right? If they're not about getting having universal health care or Medicare for all, whatever they want to call it, if they're not about codifying the voting rights so that it does not have to be renewed every 25, it should never sunset. The assumption that it sunsets is the assumption that we're going to come to a time where there's no evil. That's dumbass shit. It should never sunset. And basically what they're saying is our citizenship is on the line every 25 years. Our citizenship is on the line. Now it doesn't matter because they've already gutted it. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right. What are you guys talking about? We need to get rid of Alito, Stephen, Uncle Thomas, as well as Cannon. I'm not sure who Cannon is. Who's Cannon? But understand, we need to be abroad because the U.S. is finished. We need to take our money elsewhere and celebrate. A Better Life says yes, yes, and yes. But we need to be strategic when we're moving this money, y'all, okay? The banking systems do not work the same everywhere. So I want you to do your homework and understand what you're getting. There's a lot of perks that the banking systems in the United States have that are not universal, okay? So just know that. Like here, trying to find like a high yield savings account, stuff like that is difficult. Investing in the stock market here is easy. You can do it. Well, then how is it taxed? I don't understand the taxing yet and how they tax capital gains when it comes to unrealized gains, but it's gaining in the account. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. And so until I know, you be strategic. Be strategic, okay? Mamdani came from nowhere, but he has Hollywood and Clinton ties. Yeah, because his mom did Mississippi Masala. So he you know, okay, here's the thing, you guys. And I'm saying this knowing that the majority of you all are wanting to leave the United States, but you also know that you have members of your family who will not be leaving the United States. And we still have to continue to vote no matter where we are. Politics is not about you loving this person or this person meeting every single requirement, okay? Because you're not marrying these people, okay? Politics is about two things: rights and resources. Rights and resources. And you have to look at the people and say, out of the people who are running, who is most likely to protect my rights and to divide up the resources equitably? That's politics. And that's all it is. And so when you're talking about the fact that Mamdani comes from a moneyed family and that he has ties to rich folks, rights and resources. I think that a man who has had to live in New York during 9/11 and calls himself a progressive understands discrimination and can be cajoled and protested into doing right by other marginalized groups, right? He's going to be more likely to make equitable decisions when it comes to resources than a Tommy Tuberville, right? Even though they're both rich, right? And so that's what we need to be thinking about when we're making decisions on voting. Who is most likely to preserve my rights, to get me more rights, right? To restore some rights that have been taken away, and to divide the resources equitably. Because right now, all the resources are going to the 1%. And they're leaving the middle class, they're leaving working families, and they're going to the 1%. And so we're going to turn around and it's going to be like a Dickens novel with soup lines and everything else, or Escape from New York or Escape from LA. That's what it's going to be like in the United States if we do not get this shit under control. And these Democrats are acting like Republican lights. They are not acting like the progressives we need them to be. And the thing about it is the stuff that I'm saying, it's like this stuff is not radical. This is what everybody else in the rest of the world has, right? The right to health care, the right to reproductive health care, the right to marry who we want or who is an adult and a human being. Because I know some of them MAGA people, they want to marry kids and animals and shit. All right. We need to get out, period. Listen, y'all, the U.S. is gone. We need to establish our presence in other countries and build our finances there. Yes. The way we, that way we become kings and queens where we are. And I think she had some more to say. Yeah, absolutely. Just like there were tons and tons of people that made their way to the United States in the 60s, 70s, and 80s and 90s and in the early 2000s as well, right? And then they made a way for other folks from their community in their home countries. We too need to do the same. And I want us to really, in the short term, whatever, but in the long term, I really want you to be thinking about the continent of Africa, especially when it comes to money and investment. Okay, that's because in the end, the power is where the resources are, and the resources are in the continent of our ancestors. So that's what that long term, that's how we need to be thinking. That's how we need to be thinking. I'm so tired of having racism being white-splained to me by white people. Yeah, it's like like a man trying to tell me that wasn't sexism. Oh, that's not misogyny. Yeah, I know. Like, it's interesting to me that they want to police every part of our existence. They even want to police our reality, right? They want to tell us what reality is because we couldn't possibly understand what reality is, right? And so let me get back to what SCOTUS did, right? What Sammy was talking about, intent, right? We could not possibly read their minds, right? And of course they're not racist. Of course they're not racist because they go to lunch with so-and-so at the job. She Black. So of course they're not racist. And they get more upset about being called a racist than they do about how their actions affect us, how their words affect us, and whether their words and actions were racist. They are more concerned about being called instead of doing the right thing. These people.
They're not racist. Clarence Thomas is their best friend.
Exactly. They don't want the Supreme Court expanded because they know the country is more democratic and not MAGA crazy. And another thing, we need to get rid of the Electoral College. It's stupid. No other country does anything so convoluted. Oh my gosh. Thank you, A Better Life. Thank you for the super chat, super sticker, whichever it is, can't tell. Excuse me, because of the third-party app. But as you guys know, all of our money, every donation goes to our scholarship fund for Beyond the Bling. Beyond the Bling is our financial freedom program for late bloomers like ourselves. It comes with monthly group coaching on the second Saturday of the month. If you need a scholarship, Rick is handling them now, y'all. I got overwhelmed, so he's been really good. So I think there's still a waiting list. There's a little bit of a waiting list. We gave away a lot in the past month or so, but every single penny goes to our scholarship fund. Just send us an email. You don't need a sob story or anything like that. We know you have integrity, and you would not ask if you didn't need it. I was born in 1990, so I don't know what it is to be born without the right to vote or basic civil rights. I know, right? But Clarence Thomas does. Shame on him. That man, he ain't Black. His card has been taken away, okay? I don't care what his skin tone is, how much melanin that man has. He does not get invited to the cookout, right? And it's crazy because when I was born without the right to vote. By the time I got a voting age, obviously, I did have the right to vote. But when you were born without the right to vote. Both of us were born without the right to vote. It was not guaranteed that we would get that right at 18 years old when we were born. People like the United States has only been a democracy since 1965, okay? They like to say we're one of the oldest democracies. No, the United States is not, okay? It has only been a true democracy since 1965. And now, as of 2020 or 2021, it is an unstable democracy or something like that. We're not even a full democracy anymore, okay? We're like number 64. Yeah, that's where we at. Okay, so Biz Help Guru says, I said way back, they should have put Hillary on the Supreme Court instead of making her Secretary of State. I don't know that they could have. I think you have to have been a judge before, don't you? Don't you? I don't know. Don't get me to lying. I do not know, but I know we got some smart utopians. Let us know.
I don't know if any
SCOTUS
Supreme Court has
not been a judge before.
No.
It seems like the Mellon felon tried to nominate somebody who had never been a judge before, and even the Republicans shut that shit down. I think he had never even tried a case before.
I think
remember that?
No, it was what's the chick's name? This Supreme Court justice.
Coney Barrett.
Yeah. I think she had never
Tried a case?
tried a case.
But had she, well, then had she been a judge? Well, she had to have if she's been a judge.
Yeah, but I don't think
Maybe
it
she
was
had, I
something
don't
like
remember.
that.
I don't remember, you guys. All right. So here's the thing. Let me see what else you guys are saying, and then I'm going to get to the solution because you guys have been sticking around, and I know some of you are participating in the Job Liberation Summit. I'm a speaker, and so after this, I've got to go speak at the Job Liberation Summit. Clarence Thomas, and you can still use our link to buy replays. Okay, you can buy the replays. There's an option where you can have the replays for a whole year. There's so much interesting information in the Job Liberation Summit. Seriously, you guys. All right, Clarence Sambo Soldier. That's hilarious. That is hilarious. Okay, anything else? You don't need to be a judge nor a lawyer. Oh, wow. Okay, so CK is an attorney. She should know. That's kind of cray-cray, isn't it? It's kind of crazy. There's a lot of things that need to change. And I think that we have finally figured out that the democracy is only as strong as long as people are willing to follow the rules. And when people are not willing to follow the rules, we just found out we ain't got no way to stop them. What were you gonna say, Sweets?
And I know CK is an attorney. It's hard to believe that you do not have to be a judge, or well, maybe just to pass the bar exam. Is that the case? CK, you tell me.
Well, if you pass the bar exam, you're technically an attorney. You can be an attorney without going to law school. That I know. You just have to pass the test. It seems to me some stupid MAGA person tried to do that. She couldn't pass. I think she's tried a few times. She ain't passed yet.
I mean, because
okay, so it was her that never tried a case before. These people talk about DEI. They're WEI. WEI. My girl on Sirius XM Urban View. She's white, entitled, and incompetent. All right, so let's get to some solutions here. Yes, it is like watching Rome fall, you guys. The difference. See, we watched the English Empire fall. We watched. At least we read about it in the history books, right? But it didn't happen too long ago, right? It happened slowly, and then was completed with World War II. The difference is they had the United States as their big brother. They had the United States to prop them up, right? They had the United States as a safety net. The American empire is going down, and we ain't got no safety net, and we ain't got no big brother. And because the melon felon has pissed everybody off, the United States doesn't even have any friends. That's the difference. And that's why we have to be so concerned. You see, this is not the same. And I know that I hear people saying, oh, we've been through this before. No, we have not. No, we have not. We have not been through the fall of Western dominance and all of this stuff. Now, see, it was coming. It could have taken, I don't know, 70 to 100 years for the East and the global South to be dominant. It could be that nobody becomes dominant. That would be nice, right? But yeah, we ain't seen this shit before. This is some new stuff. This is some new stuff. All right. So remote jobs. Remote jobs. We need to stack our bread. Don't be Anne Frank. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. And that's what I keep saying. People, I hear these, FBA talking about he can't do this. Well, you know what he's gonna say? Who gonna check me, boo? Who gonna check me? I can do what the hell I want. And if and you've got birthright citizenship coming up before this same Supreme Court that they said that they were going to make a decision this summer on that. Okay. So who gonna check me? That's what he's saying. So yes, like Luxury Bucket List says, we need to be stacking our bread seriously and figuring out other streams of income. Okay, so You know, I've been hearing a lot that it's hard to find remote jobs. And they're few and far between, and this and that and the other, and blah, blah, blah. And the easiest way, like if money is the thing that is holding you back, if the income stream, maybe you're not yet old enough to get Social Security, I wouldn't just depend on Social Security. I would not. I would not. But anyway, maybe you're not old enough to get Social Security. You still need an income stream. You don't have enough saved, but you want to get out of Dodge. Remote work is the thing that people do if they're not into starting their own business, right? Or starting a side hustle. Sign-ups for the side hustle challenge. The wait list is in the description below. It will be going on sale in the next 24 to 48 hours as soon as I finish the setup. Okay. And so money is the thing, and remote job is the quickest way out. But I hear from folks that it's really, really hard to find remote jobs. So I started looking around and I'm doing some research and saw some videos and this and that and the other. And it occurred to me, and I don't know why, when I saw this video, it did not occur to me before, because I've used these services before. What am I talking about? Staffing agencies. Staffing agencies find out about jobs that never make it to the job boards. Okay. You can go through staffing agencies for permanent or contract temp work, right? It's really easy to get those temp jobs, right? You can get like a 3-month temp job, boom, you're out. And then once you're out, you can figure out, you got 3 months to figure out what the next thing is. Or a lot of these temp jobs go temp to permanent. And so I'm going to show you what I found. So I went to these job boards. Oh, by the way, I have in the description, Action VJ, can you grab it, please? Pretty please. In the description, or Greta, if you're there. I don't know, did I see Greta? No. I don't think I saw Greta. Anyway, in the description, I created a list of the staffing agencies and what their areas were, the areas that they are known for or that they cover. Okay, so like there's some that are just for healthcare services and stuff like that, some that are just for administrative, some that are a bit more broader, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. And so I put that list together for you, and you can grab that if you need it in the description below, and hopefully Action PJ can grab it and put it in the chat. So I'm going to bring this back up. That's my daddy right there, you guys. That was my daddy with the goatee. He was a militant. All right, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so we can see it. Excuse me, you guys. I'm so sorry about my allergies. Anyway, so I went to Robert Half earlier today, and this is what I found. Now, they had stuff that they had temp jobs that were 6-figure temp jobs. So look at this. You got, entry level $18 to $20 an hour call center stuff. They had tons of those. And then here's the thing: you would not be working for whatever that company is. You would be working for Robert Half, right? You'd be working for Robert Half. The check would be coming from Robert Half, and then when this contract is over, Robert Half can find you another one. That's the beauty of it. These agencies have been around forever. I used to use Robert Half and Kelly's services all of the time, especially when I moved to a new city and I didn't have any contacts yet. The quickest way to get into a company was always through contract work. I don't know why it took me so long to think of that. What is that?
I don't know, it's your computer.
So I tried to grab the different areas. So you got, accounting with the bookkeeping, you've got the legal area. They also had stuff for attorneys. They had temp work for attorneys as well as paralegals. There's more paralegals than there are attorneys. So that's why I pulled the paralegal one. But yeah, they had attorney stuff up there. They had stuff for full-fledged doctors as well as nurses, as well as just nursing assistants and stuff like that. All right. So call center, I pulled the call center. I pulled one from marketing, more creative. They had tons of marketing things in there. What was it? It was marketing and something else, some creative services and marketing. Okay, so
Also
our
said
creative
there's
people.
a Robert Half in Portugal.
Wouldn't be surprised. Would not be surprised. But I would stick. You do not want to get into the Portuguese labor system, y'all. Okay, and that kind of tax system. Just don't. Just don't. Just don't. Right? And they're not going to pay you as much. All right. And so instead of $18 an hour for the call center, you might only be making $10 an hour or €10 an hour. So $12 an hour, right? Just do the United States thing. All of these ones that I am putting up here that I saw did not say must be USA based. Now, I did see some that said must be USA based. But not a lot. And it was like specific. The legal one didn't, but one of the health ones did. Another one of the health ones didn't. That was just dealing with the billing system or something like that. That through the healthcare system, they did not have it. That must be in the USA. Okay. All right. And then so that was Robert Half. Robert Half is huge, y'all. So for those of you who've never gone through a staffing agency, Robert Half is one of the biggest. And then Kelly Services used to mainly do temp. They might do temp and permanent now. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Robert Half bought Kelly Services, if I'm not mistaken. But Robert Half was always like, back in the day anyway, Robert Half was more of like upper scale, more skilled and labor and folks with degrees, as well as Kelly, more entry level, admin, et cetera, et cetera. I'm sure that is not the case anymore because I went to Kelly Services and found some stuff that it didn't seem like I would have found before. So I went to various agencies. Because the list is long. I think I pulled like 12 to 17 different agencies because some agencies are very, very specific in what they cover. But I went to 4 different agencies and I pulled these 4 different jobs. The Oracle one, that's probably a 6-figure job. Once you start getting into salary and they're talking about, and they don't give you a number, and they're talking about commensurate with experience and all that shit and industry standards and all of that, that's probably a 6-figure job. But workers' comp claims examiner, $35 an hour. This Peachtree one, engineering, $40 to $60 an hour. Remote certified medical assistant, there's the medical one, $17 to $20 an hour. And this one, they give you a computer. And again, I know on this website, I saw some that said must be in the USA, but this one did not. So yeah, I'm just saying that there are huge opportunities out there. It is so much easier to get placed through an agency than it is to get the job directly through the company. Have you ever gone through agency?
Manpower.
Oh my God, I remember Manpower back in the day.
Well, that's the only time I've went through agency.
Okay, I remember them back in the day. I've gone through some headhunters as well as, like a temp agency, like a Manpower or Kelly Services or things like that. That's why I can't believe that I did not think about it until I was reminded of it. But you guys, there are so many companies that would prefer to fill their positions, both temp and permanent, through an agency that's going to do all of the screening for them, even large corporations. Because when I worked at Coors, I was in HR at Coors, the beer, and in the recruiting department, and we used staffing agencies. As a matter of fact, I was working at Coors at first through a staffing agency. So yeah, major corporations as well as smaller companies use these agencies. Josette is like, wow, I remember Manpower, right?
That was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago, y'all. Yeah, I did. So they, it's contracting. Yeah. out of the country like that, okay? So let's not let money stand in the way of progress. And here's the thing. You might not need as much money where you're going, or if you are making close to what you're making now you're going to a lower cost of living. So any debt that you have, you can start paying that down or stocking up and saving a lot more because you've lowered your cost of living. And that's another reason. Who was it? I can't remember who was talking about that they had one. They had a Robert Power. Was it Luxury Bucket List? They had a Robert Power here. Another reason why you would want to work out of the agencies of UK pays, okay, out of the UK. But see, I'm not sure that you can because you don't have the right to work in the UK.
Right.
Okay, so you have to go either to where you have the right to work. And since you always have the right to work in the United States, I would stick to the agencies offices that are located in the United States so you can get that higher pay but live in a lower cost of living. So Allison asks, if you have a D7 visa, will working remote mess that up? No. You have to qualify for the D7 with passive income. That's all they need to know about. They only need to know about the passive income, okay? They just want to make sure that you're not coming here expecting to get a job that a Portuguese person should have, okay? So that's number one. Number two, if you're coming on the D7, it's passive income. So it has to be rental income. It has to be a pension or Social Security or something like that. Or it can be dividends, or it can be a big, huge chunk of money called savings. Okay. You've got to qualify that way. And then whatever else you do is what you do. It's on a need to know basis. But when it comes time to filing taxes, you're going to have to do what you have to do. Okay. You got to disclose everything at that point. At that point, you're already here. They don't care. They don't care. Once you're here, they don't care. Seriously. You know, people who have worked even here on a D7 visa. Mm-hmm. For a while there, anybody who worked remote was getting a D7 visa. So I'd say 99% of our friends have D7 visas, and about 30% of them, okay, that was Allison, about 30% of them work. See, Wanda's on a temp job right now, see? That was my dad. So yeah, oh good, thank you. So Action BJ did put the list, there's the list in the chat, and it's also in the description below. Okay, I'm marking your questions, and then we'll let you all go. You guys, I don't want you to get discouraged. Don't get discouraged. Just plan and make sure that. Hey Dennis, let me make sure I got that. And then make sure that you are voting and that you understand what you're going to need to go through to vote wherever it is that you vote. And you know, what I would be doing if I lived in a state that would not ship a ballot to me here. See, we don't have to worry about that. We can do all of ours electronically in Colorado. So we don't have to worry about that. I would be having my ballot FedEx to me from you know, wherever I'm having my mail sent. I would have it FedEx to me. That's what I would do, and then I would FedEx it back, because we can't play, we can't pay. And yes, that's a poll tax. And I just found out how much that real ID costs in some states. I want to say it was L.A. Mistal went to get his real ID. You know, the ID that's supposed to, you know, have all the chips in it and all that stuff that you need to vote. $110. That's the ID that they want to make everybody have to be able to vote. Tell me that's not a poll tax. Tell me that's not a poll tax. If you want to have voters have a voter ID, then have a national ID. See, Portugal has a national ID. The United States does not, besides a passport. And we have to pay a couple of $100 for that. So, you know. Okay. So I think I've got them all. That was one of the last ones. And hey, Dennis, good to see you. Good to see you. The list of items that need to be codified into law in order to prevent another fascist takeover and protect, our institutions seems impossible to me.
Good night and good luck, America.
It's not impossible, Dennis. It's not impossible. I want you to consider the fact that our parents and grandparents fought for an America that they had never seen. They had never seen an America, right, where a Black person could look a white person in the eye and say, wait, what's up? What? Right? In anywhere in the world, in the country, legally. But they were fighting for an America that they didn't even know if it could exist. Now, we saw good parts of it, right, in the 70s and early 80s. We saw glimpses of what a true multicultural democracy could look like. And so what we are fighting for, we have seen glimpses of it. And so if our parents and grandparents can fight for a vision that they had not seen, then we surely could fight for a vision that we've seen glimpses of. Right? The United States, as we imagined the United States in the 70s when we were kids, will never exist again. And so, Dennis, you are absolutely right. That America is gone, and good riddance. And good riddance at this point, right? Since you've already effed it up, we might as well reimagine it from the ground up. We might as well, because they done effed up what we were on the road to. I mean, when you think about what America could have been, had white people not been so fragile and their egos not been so fragile. Like I don't, I have no idea. When we look at tortured souls and we look at folks who have, been so wounded that they felt like they had to leave the planet, right? And things like that. I cannot comprehend that kind of pain. I can't comprehend it. And I have compassion for it, right? I also cannot comprehend how it feels to know that by and large, my ancestors and I have always been and are still on the wrong side of history and are morally corrupt and have no moral high ground to stand on whatsoever. And to know deep down inside that Jesus was Black. Like, I have no idea what it feels like to know that if you continue to operate how you have and protect your privilege, that you do not have the moral high ground, that you are morally corrupt. That's sickness. And it's just as sick as the person who was so wounded and hurt that they felt like they didn't want to live anymore, right? They're just as psychologically damaged. One is just evil and one is just heartbreaking, right? I have no idea what that feels like. And I don't want to know. It feels good to have the moral high ground, right? It feels good to know that I come from a people that have had been slapped across the face and said, you won't slap me again, but I won't slap you back because I'm better than you. They didn't say that last part. I said it. But it feels good. It feels good. And it's interesting because, when the anti-racists, when they do their little exercises and stuff, and they be breaking people up into racial groups or cultural groups, and the white folks get together and we all have to come up with some answers to the question. One of the questions is, what are you most proud of from your community, about your culture? And white folks ain't never got nothing to say. what they get to say, they say stuff seriously. I have seen the video. They say stuff like, it feels good not to be followed around in a store by cops. Oh, so you realize, I thought you said a minute ago there was no such thing as racism, but now you're saying, see, they know. They know. And when we come back out and talk about what we're most proud of, we talk about our resilience. We talk about how we stick together. We talk about how we all going to hate the sellout, right? We all going to hate the Uncle Tom together because we got unity. And I know internally we feel like we don't, but we do. 92% of Black women did the right thing. 88% of Black men did the right thing. We have unity, y'all. Don't let them think that we don't, okay? The majority of us, and like technically, for some of us, we were voting against some of our own interests financially. But see, we're Black, so we vote for the good of all. We don't vote selfishly. And that feels good as well. It feels good to know that we have sacrificed a little bit for the good of all. And I don't know how it feels to not be able to say that. But there's folks out there who do. He had to come back for more. Thank you, Dennis. Again, 100% goes to our scholarship fund, you guys, right? So Dennis writes, did you hear, did you guys hear King Charles' address to Congress? I didn't. It was really good and included some subtle retorts to Charles' comments.
Went right over his head.
Did they? Okay, so what did he say? I have to go see it.
He was just talking about, how things should be, how righteous, things should be and everything like that. But everything he said went right over Trump's head. In other words, he was calling a dumb asshole. A big fuck up dumb asshole.
Oh my God. The trees are blooming. We've got all of these flowering trees right outside of our window in front, you guys. And my nasals are just, and my eyes are itching. So if my eyes look red, my eyes are itching and leaking and everything else. But yeah, I have to go back and see that. Dennis, I did not see that. And I'm surprised that you saw it because you're like, I'm tired of watching this stuff. It can get to you, but we have just given you a solution that you might not have thought about, you all. And this is something that's at your fingertips, and boom, boom, boom. You can do this, like you can do the digital nomad thing on using staffing agencies and temp work and stuff like that as well, right? You do not have to have necessarily a permanent gig. So shout out, Julie. Welcome to the tribe. Welcome. We get together. All of the members get together before we go live on Sundays. All right. We have a private Zoom where we chitty chat and, ask me questions, ask Rick questions, et cetera, and we talk shit. And then every other Thursday, the legends come on with us on air, as we did last week, and talk about the topic of the day. And you can come on air and ask us questions and, show off and stuff. All right. What else are you guys talking about? Let me get back to the top here. All right. Don't be surprised if nominees Eileen Cannon, if they nominate Eileen Cannon to the Supreme Court. Wait a minute. Who's dead? Who's quitting? Who's leaving?
Who said somebody had to leave?
Well, look, there's no point in nominating somebody to the Supreme Court and breaking the rules without Congress. Like, why do that? Just do what you want to do.
That's what he's doing.
Right? Just do what you want to do. Like, you ain't got to nominate nobody. Because that's what he's doing any damn way, right? Hey, Marcus, a potential solution for working remotely while abroad may be to form an LLC in one of the states in the U.S. and then seek employment as a 1099 contract worker. Yes. Yep. Yeah. And so basically, you all, what he's saying is that you would not work for Kelly Services. Halisi LLC would work for Kelly Services. And so the Kelly Services would pay Halisi LLC a check, and then I would be getting passive income from my LLC. Okay. Talk to a tax person. All right. Sometimes it's an LLC, sometimes it's an S corp, depending upon what else you all are doing, right? Et cetera, et cetera. So talk to a tax person. We are not it. We just play one on TV, and we know just enough to be dangerous, y'all. Seriously. So, but yeah, good advice, good information. Have you ever heard of the Michael Page Agency? I'm on an assignment now that will last until June 30th. No, but we can add that to the list. I will go on to their website and see what they've got going. Do they have a lot of remote stuff, Wanda, on the Michael Page Agency as well? Inquiring minds want to know. And that one is not on the list, y'all. So write that down. So the list that I created, the Michael Page Agency, isn't on there. I used to only work through agencies back in the day because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I did it for years. Yeah, right? The notion that you're supposed to have it all figured out at 18 or have it all figured out at 21, to me is just goofy. I've done so many different things, and God knows what he's doing, because at the end of the day, I have all of the skills that I've learned from all of the jobs that I've had. I use them. Right? Rick's done a lot of stuff too. He's done a lot of stuff. Jabari used to say, "What haven't you done?" We black. So of course, have 2 tree job, man. 2 tree job. All right. Side note, I heard in passing that hosts have to pay Social Security for maid or housekeeping services, even if it's just 1 or 2 days a week in Portugal. Is this true? CK? I don't know. For the people who are working through agencies, because they have those agencies here, I'm sure they get Social Security. If you've got a formal contract with a maid, I'm sure you're supposed to pay into all of that. Yeah. I have no idea what people are doing with their housekeeping services and how they're getting them. So I can't tell you. Right. But I do know that it's less expensive here than what people pay in the United States. A lot less expensive. Julie says, my niece and I will be in Lisbon on 6/19 through the 22nd, and I went to sign up for the meetup, but can only attend events through this time. Oh no. Okay, so there's only one other thing that's going on the 20th. Rick and I will be at Nisa's Lounge. The tickets for that, you can go through our website, and so that you get seated with us. That's on the evening of the 20th. The 19th, we're going to be at a Juneteenth event that sold out with our legends and everybody else who was early and got the rest of the seats. So yeah, we would love to see you, Julie. If you come meet us at Nisa's Lounge. So it's the jazz, it's R&B jazz concert, jazz club, and drinks and all that kind of stuff. So I have to say, I have seen about 4 or 5 acts at Nisa's Lounge, and no matter Ashanti, who owns it, no matter whether they're local or they're from the States, everybody has been excellent. The last time we were there, it was someone who was local, and they were singing Brazilian and Portuguese jazz. It had words. It wasn't just the music. And she was baby girl. Baby girl was on point. Did I understand what she was saying? No. Did I understand the feeling that she was talking about? Yeah. Right. We can understand that, because that's how good you. If you're good, you can understand. So yeah, we had a good time. So yeah. Come through on the 20th, go to our site, and you'll see, click here, and that'll direct you straight to Nisa's Lounge, and we're going to be there on June 20th. So I look forward to seeing you. Does work with Robert Half constitute territorial income or foreign income? I don't know, CK. That's a Robert Half problem. If Robert Half says you can work from anywhere, you can work from anywhere. If Robert Half says it has to be in the USA, then it has to be in the USA. That's their problem. They know what they have the capability of doing and who they, don't worry about it. You're not paying the employer taxes. That's on them. I'm on a temp job right now that will end June 30. Oh, we saw that. Yep, Rhonda. Prior attorneys who were never judges have been appointed to Supreme Court. Hence, no experience nor legal education is required, which is why the Supreme Court has been fucking up since its inception. Don't forget Plessy versus Ferguson, right? I mean, we can just go on and on with their effed up decisions, right? As well as there's no way on God's green earth that the Supreme Court should have been deciding who's president of the United States. Oh my gosh, they are out of control, and it's just it's so dismaying and disheartening to know that the same people who voted in or who decided that yes, there's an issue and that yes, we should have voting rights, are the same people who are taken away. It's just amazing to me. It was the last time it was up for vote, 2006, under George W. Bush. The vote was 98-0. Everybody. What in the hell happened between 2006? Oh, I know. There was a black man in the White House. We can't have that now, can we? See, it was all fine as long as we were voting for people who looked like them. The moment that we got uppity enough to think for 8 years too, not just for 8 years, please, hell no, we got to put y'all back in your place. How long do we have to get a second passport? How long do we have to get a second passport? This keeps me up at night. Citizenship is not quick for most of us FBAs. I am moving quickly. I know I'm moving quickly, but do we have 10 years before US passports are useless?
That's hard to say.
That's very hard to say. That's very hard to say because, like, y'all know, every single thing that is happening, I said was going to happen in 2024, 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago, right? But there's no way on God's green earth, one, that I thought it was going to happen this quickly, and two, this quickly and this, I don't know, evilly. I mean, he was evil last time. When we saw them cages with them kids in it, right? Now, I heard Obama did the same shit, but he must not have done it that much. I don't know. But I mean, tons and tons, he wasn't separating families either. Tons and tons and tons of kids in cages. Y'all forgot about that? I didn't forget. I did not forget. And so, as I said, I'm not surprised. I'm also, how evil in some ways, because he was evil before. But I am surprised how much and how quickly the oligarchs and everyone just capitulated, just rolled over. I'm really surprised about that because it's like, what are they thinking? If ain't nobody got no money, we can't buy your stuff. And you keep trying to increase shareholder value. Well, how can you increase shareholder value if your customer base is broke? And they're broke because you've created the atmosphere to make them broke. Because what? Because you needed another plane? Because you needed another yacht? What? I don't know. That's what I'm shocked about. So, I don't know, girl. I don't know. I know that we are urgently, purposefully trying to find another passport. So if you're watching and you've got Caribbean ties or you're first or second generation from the continent of Africa, get that second passport. Get it. Get it. Because we don't have that luxury. And we're trying to figure out some DNA something. Can we buy one? Something. Because this man is tripping, the Supreme Court is tripping, and we are only citizens as long as they allow us to be citizens. And anybody who thinks that an FBA or ADOS or whatever cannot get caught up in this, you're being very naive. There was a time we were 3/5 of a person. They don't have to say it. They can just do things to make us 3/5 of a person. So be purposeful. And I don't know. Let's see how November 2024 and 2026 goes. Let's see how that goes. Because if we don't take back both houses, no, you ain't got 10 years. I can guarantee you don't have 10 years. Before it, yeah, because you're just asking before it's useless, not before they potentially take it away from us. But yeah, if we don't, if the Democrats, and good Democrats, not these bullshit like Hakeem, he's so disappointing. Anyway, not like them. Or if the Democrats and they do some mamby-pamby, oh, we'll just do a little bit here and a little bit there, and they do that, and then in 2028 it just goes back the other way again. Either one of those scenarios, we do not have 10 years. We do not have 10 years. But if we take them back in we've got to take it back through the census, through the 2030. And then we've got to keep it through 2030 and win that election in 2030. Why? Because in 2031, the congressional maps will be drawn again and allocated, not drawn, but allocated. They'll be drawn as well, but they'll also be allocated. What do I mean by that? Where I told you politics are about rights and resources. So the census is all about resources. Where are the resources going to go? They're supposed to go where the people are. Well, for us, of course, we're out of the country, so we don't get to count. We're not going to be counted on the census. I guess we don't get counted on the census. I don't know how that works. This is going to be interesting because I don't know how that works. But in any event, state to state to state to state, people move from state to state to state to state. 20% of the people are moving all the time, right?
I think as long as you own the home, you'll be counted.
I don't think it's a home. I think where you have residency. But see, this is the thing, right? Like, I think it's where you have residency, and in the district you have residency, right? And so you've got to have a mailbox or something. I don't think you have to own anything right? Because that would be a poll tax. So wherever your mailbox is, you might get counted. Oh no, we'll tell you. We'll tell you. But why is this important? After the census, that's when we will know where the lines are going to be drawn and who gets how many congressional seats. Now, I think Congress needs to be expanded because what they keep doing is they just keep making the districts bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Well, we're not getting any new people now, so maybe they don't have to make them bigger or they don't have to add any at this point because we don't have any immigration anymore. But what happens is sometimes a state is going to lose a congressional seat and another state is going to gain a congressional seat. That happens. And then within a state, people move around. And so maybe LA loses a congressional seat, but out there in the outburbs of Los Angeles County, they may gain a seat, for instance. That's how that works. Why is it important? If we are not in charge after the census, they're going to draw them maps crazy, just like they did the last time, okay? And we cannot let that happen. As a matter of fact, it needs to be mandated and put into law that every map must be drawn by a nonpartisan group of people. We just need to pass that law federally and say every state, it has the congressional map has to be drawn by. Now, what they do internally with their state house and state senate and all that, That's up to them. But federally, it needs to be by a nonpartisan group. That's how we have it in Colorado. A lot of blue states have nonpartisan groups. California had that. They had to get rid of it so that they could gerrymander to offset what Texas did. Colorado wouldn't be able to get rid of it so easily. But anyway, so that's how that works. Y'all, we are in the thick of it. Okay. It's hard to find remote jobs that let you work anywhere, not just in the US. I know. So the ones that I pulled, I made sure that they did not say must work in the US or USA only. There were some that I saw that said USA only. The ones I pulled did not. Okay. No official requirements for US Constitution does not mandate prior judicial experience, law school training. Okay, about the SCOTUS. That's just crazy.
Some scary shit.
Right? That is just crazy to me. All right. Amy is raising those kids to be money makers in the sports world, like the Blind Side movie. This is how white people think of us. Oh my gosh. Amy Coney Barrett has Black kids. She adopted some Black kids. Is that what she did? Oh my gosh.
I think she
Oh God, that's so sick.
does have a daughter, something like that.
Great White Hope. So she can't be racist, right?
Shit.
I could hear her saying in her brain, see, all Black kids need to be taken away from their parents and reparented by us. I could hear her saying that shit in her brain. Some white folks have said that out loud and have written books saying that shit. So it's not like it's out of the realm, right? Happy Sunday. I appreciate you too and the weekly discussion on moving abroad and why it's time to go. Thank you. And thank you for the super chat. You all, every single penny counts. Every single penny goes to our scholarship fund. Again, just write us an email. You don't have to give us a song and dance and let us know that you want a scholarship. Put scholarship in the subject line so that we don't miss it, okay? All right. What else are you guys talking about before we let you go? I was surprised. Robert Half had a ton. And in some areas, depending upon what area, but a lot of us think that you have to be in tech to have a remote job, and you just don't. That's why I wanted to show you guys jobs from all different industries or areas, I should say, within industries, because you have accounting in every industry, you have legal in every industry, et cetera, right? And sometimes we only think of like software developers and things like that can get these remote jobs, and it's simply not true. Okay, Latrice says, how long do we have to get a second passport? Oh, wait, did we just answer this? Should be a midnight citizenship? Okay, yeah, we just answered that. Okay, sorry, I forgot to unstar it.
Well, she has 2 Haitian kids.
She has 2 Haitian kids. Oh my God. Okay, 6 prior attorneys who were never judges have been appointed to SCOTUS. But get rid of DEI though, right? Get rid of DEI, but it does not matter. It does not matter that these people are on the Supreme Court of the United States deciding things that will affect the whole country, and they ain't got no experience. Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me? All right. So like when I look at this remote job, this is not like your forever plan, right? This is kind of your bridge to freedom, right? This is your get out quick plan. If you feel stuck, if you feel like I can't save quick enough, I can't, the stock market is doing what the stock market does, I can't save quickly enough, et cetera, et cetera. If that is your thing, this might be your answer. All right. So what I want to know is, what's your biggest obstacle right now? What's your biggest obstacle? Is it skills? Is it income? Is it fear? Or is it family? What's your biggest obstacle from getting out of the matrix? Because that's what the United States is, y'all. It's the matrix. It's the matrix. They're cray-cray. They've lost their mind. So tell me more luxury bucket list, because like I said, I looked specifically and I saw some that said the USA only and some that didn't. Again, and the interesting thing is there is Robert Half in the UK. So I don't know if you sign up through the US, do they go through the UK? I have no idea how they do any of that with these global companies. Okay. So don't say no and expect to have success, and until you have turned over every single stone, you guys. Okay. Until you have turned over every single stone. And then for some of you with the USA only, for those of you who are not yet ready or who are going to be going back and forth, right? This could still get you to a lower cost of living within the United States as well. Okay. Jobs keep us tied to where we can live, et cetera, et cetera. Not just the city where we can live, but sometimes even the neighborhood, if the city is huge and traffic is horrible and this and that and the other, and you don't want to be an hour away from work. So now you got to go buy over in this area of town or rent over in this area of town, which is more expensive, but it's closer to your job. Otherwise, you see what I'm saying? So let this be a way that you can possibly gain some freedom, because Lord knows the Supreme Court is trying to take away that freedom. Right? Thank you for confirming my fears. I'm looking at getting citizenship by investment in Africa at this point. Yep. We're looking at that too. Botswana and Sao Tome and Principe. Okay. So let us know what they're asking for, what they're talking about. I want to say, was it Namibia? One of the countries that I was looking at that's kind of like southwest on the continent. The country is in the southwest part of the continent. And it seemed to me, when I looked, they had a pretty stable government and decent economy and a really good price on a golden visa, like under $150,000, if I remember correctly. So yeah, that's what I was looking at. So income and bills are what keep you up at night. Okay. 5 years officially, Cape Verde. Huh.
Is an Epstein part here? Was he even old enough?
So let me get this straight. Because the boy's what, 32 years old? 33, 34? So when he was 14 years old,
he was flying on a jet.
Or what he's saying, when he was 24 years old, he was partying with Epstein. Is that what we're hearing? As much as people hate him, seems like we would have heard that.
Oh, they would have used that all day long.
Taxation by Portugal feels like a drain on my life plan and savings. I know. And so CK, have you talked to our tax person yet? If not, just text me. Okay. You people, especially those of you who are doing Fat Fire and stuff like that. FIRE stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early. Fat Fire means you live in large with your retirement. Okay. If Western Europe is on your list, I want you to check with a tax person in the country that you were talking about moving to. Somebody was talking about something like 44, 49% taxes. Now, to me, they're not doing things right. If her person is coming back with that, they're not doing something right. Here in Portugal, you're gonna, eventually at some point, there are opportunities to pay more taxes than you would in the United States. On the other hand, you get, knee surgery for $1,000 in and out, all in. All right. So these are the things that you have to keep in mind. One of the reasons why people do not retire before 65 in the United States is because of healthcare. And now that they, totally gutted the ACA, just like they gutted the Voting Rights Act, it makes it even harder. So keep all of that in mind. But yeah, taxes are no joke. Retiring in less than 4 years with funding. All right, Crystal, I love it. Taxes are no joke in Western Europe. So, for us so far, but we're under the NHR scheme. We are paying less taxes than we would have. But again, we're under that NHR, which they got rid of. I'm not sure that was a good idea, but so she said, I haven't heard of that. I'm not sure what you were talking about, baby. Okay, I guess that's it. I think we did it. Do you guys need help? Do you feel like this seems overwhelming, right? Or you're just one of those, like, I know that you got videos on all of this stuff, but I ain't got time for all that. We do offer one-on-one coaching. That information is in the description below. For those of you where the money is the thing and you just want to understand how money works better, right? You want to understand about investing, be it in real estate or equities or both. Beyond the Bling is our financial freedom program for late bloomers just like ourselves. Everything that we learned to go from negative 22,000 in net worth to over 1.1 million in net worth is in that program. And it comes with monthly group coaching every second Saturday of the month. Except for like December. I think I took December off. I can't remember, y'all. But yeah, every month. And it's a one low price and it's going to be raised. I'm telling you, do not wait. I remember when I was taking something from Stephanie Perry, and I can't remember what it was. And I think it was How to Do YouTube. And when I took it, it was like $69. And I was like, it was a challenge. It was like a 1-week challenge. And it was like $69. And I was like, yeah, I'll do that all day long, right? And then years after that, I was like, you guys got to take this challenge. And I went back and looked, and it was something like $3.99, $4.99. I was like, damn. Okay, so you don't want to be that person. Because we're adding extra perks that we're going to start charging for, but everybody who's in early is going to get grandfathered in, okay? And so you get grandfathered in. We don't believe in flipping the script in the middle of the deal, right? Become a channel member. That's one way that you can support the channel. We have fun. All of our Utopians, the ones with the Sankofa birds right next to their names, are channel members. We get together before we go live every Sunday. 1 hour before we go live every Sunday, we get together and in a private Zoom, and we chitty chat, both Rick and I and everybody else. We have over 200 members, y'all, but I'm going to tell you, only about 30 people show up. So it's like, being at a house party. Okay. We just chitty chatting and asking questions and all of this and that. So that is one way that you can support the channel. The Side Hustle Challenge waiting list is now available. The next Side Hustle Challenge will start in July and will run through September. Again, we will meet for 10 weeks every single Saturday. We will take you from idea to launch. Be ready to go from idea to launch. If you already have a side hustle, but it hasn't been growing or it's been stagnant or something like that, maybe it needs to be reimagined. Maybe you need to hone in on some things. So this could work for you as well. You might skip a little bit with the pre-work and then just dive right in and start talking about who you're really going after. All right. So if you've got a side hustle, but it hasn't been growing, we can help you too. The Side Hustle Challenge is coming up in July. It will be 10 weeks. This is one of my favorite things to do, actually. I do really enjoy it. And we give you feedback on your, on every single thing that you turn in, as long as you turn it in on time. But we still give feedback. That's the other thing. It also comes with an extra year of monthly group coaching. So we don't just take you through the 10 weeks and say, all right, bye. We give you an opportunity to come on the channel. We also give you an opportunity to meet with us for another 12 months so we can help you ramp up. Okay. Let's get this money going because these fools in the United States are cray cray and you cannot depend on one income stream. I'm telling you. I don't care how good your pension is. If you don't have 3 years or so worth of living expenses set aside on top of that pension, you need other income streams. Because I think you can figure, like if the shit hits the fan, the pension goes away, 2-3 years, you can figure it out, right? You can figure it out. But if all you got is that pension and $4,000-$5,000, you need some more income streams. That's what you need. So you want to go ahead and get on that waiting list. We only take about 25 people, okay, in the Side Hustle Challenge because it's a lot of work, y'all. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So we want to make sure that we give everybody quality feedback. So in order to do that, we have to keep the numbers down. Today, for all of you who are coming to the meetup, today is the last day for the early bird pricing. Today is the last day for the early bird pricing. The information is in the description below. We are going to have so much fun. The meetup is on June 15th and June 16th. We do it annually. This is our 4th annual meetup, and we always do it around Juneteenth. This is not a Juneteenth meetup. It never was a Juneteenth meetup, okay? Had nothing to do with, I'm from California. We didn't really celebrate Juneteenth, but we do celebrate it here. However, our meetup is on the 15th and the 16th of June, and it's always on that Monday and Tuesday that week in June. Every single year, we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to go up to the Silver Coast, Nazare, Buddha Eden Garden. You guys, if you have been to our meetups, let us know in the chat. If you're watching from the future, hey, and you've been to the meetups, let us know in the comments. What we have some people who have been to every single meetup. Let us know. Let us know what you think. Let everybody else know. So if you can't come this year, you can come next year. All right. We are going to have so much fun. We're actually starting the activities on the 10th with a lot of informal stuff with some locals. So even if Portugal's not the place, you're going to be able to meet all of these other folks who are trying to move somewhere. And everybody's not from the United States either. We've got folks coming from all over the planet. I'm so excited. I think we're up to about 110 people right now that are going to converge on Lisbon. We start on the 10th. The last event is on the 20th. So it's 10 days of events. Now, these are things that are going on. Everybody's not participating in all of those events. Everybody is participating in the 15th and the 16th. Those are the official days of the meetup. The other things are kind of add-on activities, just so that folks can get to know each other, build community, and find your tribe. That's what it's all about, finding your tribe. Because once you have community, it makes this thing so much easier. I think we were talking beforehand. Well, CK, was that before? Yeah. CK asked, she read some article about a third of the people who move here to Portugal end up moving back to the United States. And I think one of the reasons could be not having community, because I was at this event, y'all, and I happened to be sitting next to this white guy, and the majority of the people there were Black, and it's funny. And the person who was having the birthday party, he basically Black. He's Latino, but he Black, and he's married to someone who's Black. And so the guy who's next to me, he's like, "So how do you know him?" And I'm like, "He's in our clique." Sound like a kid, right? And he looked at me, and I'm like, "What do you mean? How do we know him?" And we're here in Portugal. We're all from the States. Everybody there was from the States. And he had people who actually, his family come from the States as well to celebrate his birthday. But I just thought that was funny. He's like, "Oh," he's like, "So you guys hang out often?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "You guys don't?" Okay. So that is the difference. That is the thing. Seriously, you guys. We have community here, and they have community in Colombia. They have community in Panama. They have community in Mexico. They have community in Ghana, in South Africa, in Thailand. Look, y'all, that is the key. That is the key. And, we have game night. We just had a game night on Saturday at a friend's house. We had a spelling bee and all the stuff. Not yesterday, last week. Yeah. And instead of having potluck because the wives got told late, and only a couple of husbands cook. So we decided to do Uber Eats instead of potluck, which was hilarious. But yeah, these are the kinds of things that we do. I rarely had time to do things like that in the States. I didn't make time to do things like that in the States. It seems like I was always working. And when I wasn't working, I was networking, right? The weekends became networking, not just chilling. Any kind of dress up event became a networking event. Whew, Lord, them days are over. Okay. Those days are over. And we want that for you too. So no matter where you're going, whether you're going to, I don't know, Kigali, Rwanda, right? Or Uruguay, or Panama, or Portugal, be ready to build community. Be ready to build community. And once you do that, it's going to be all good. I promise you that. I promise you that. We can help you build a plan with our one-on-one coaching. So just let us know. All right. Just let us know. And I think we have answered all of the questions. Anything else, you guys? Okay. All right. I don't see anything else. So we're going to let y'all go. And we will see you on Thursday. This Thursday is not a Legend Thursday. I have no idea what we're going to be talking about. What you want us to talk about? Look at our merch store too. See? Look at our merch store and let us know what else you would like to see us have. Okay? Let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. And with that, we will see you on the other side, you guys. Bye.
Yeah. Not a dream, a destination. Our Black Utopia.